Make no mistake, that was not just rain. It was the collapse of the sky itself. When humanity looked up for the last time, they didn't see clouds. They saw the ocean crashing down upon their heads. In human history, there is one shared primal fear. It doesn't belong just to the Hebrews, the Sumerians, or the Greeks. It is embedded deep in our DNA. The Great Flood. The day the Creator regretted making mankind. The day the world had to die to be reborn. Before the rain began, the earth was nothing like what we see today. It was a paradise, but a paradise that had rotted from the inside out. The ancient texts tell us that in those days, men lived for hundreds of years. They built massive cities, they forged iron, they played music, and they were arrogant. But that progress came with a price. Violence spread like a plague. The blood of the innocent stained the soil every single day. But the most terrifying thing was not the crimes of man. It was the presence of those who did not belong. Genesis calls them the Nephilim, the giants, the offspring of fallen angels and the daughters of men. They were the legendary warriors, the tyrants of the ancient world. They ruled the earth with supernatural strength and an unquenchable thirst for blood. The earth groaned. The balance was broken. The Creator looked down at his masterpiece and saw only the pitch-black darkness of the human heart. And then a decision was made. The most painful decision of the Almighty. I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created. A hard reset for the entire planet. Amidst that noise and corruption, there was a silence. That was Noah. He was not a king. He was not a warrior. He was simply a man who walked with God. A righteous man in a wicked generation. Imagine the pressure Noah carried. One day, he received the most insane message in history. Build an ark, for I am bringing the rain. Rain. Scholars suggest that before this moment, the Earth's climate was different. Rain had never fallen in such a torrential way. Noah was being warned about something he had never even seen. And look at the design of the vessel. It was not a boat to be steered. It had no sails, no rudder. It was a box, a giant floating coffin designed only to survive. Its dimensions: 300 cubits long, 50 wide, 30 high. That is roughly the size of a modern 4-story building, longer than an American football field. How could a family of just 8 people complete this task? They built the ark for 120 years. 120 years of mockery. Passers-by spat on them, threw stones, and laughed at the crazy old man building a boat on dry land. Where is the rain, Noah? Where is the flood in the middle of this desert? Noah did not answer. The sound of his hammer driving nails into the wood was his only reply. Bang, bang, bang. It was the ticking clock of the apocalypse. Then the day arrived. The rain didn't come first. It started with the breaking of nature's silence. From the forests, from the caves, from the distant horizons, they began to arrive. A surreal scene never before witnessed. Lions walking beside antelopes. Wolves walking beside sheep. No hunting, no growling. Driven by a single instinct of survival. Go to that wooden box. God had suppressed their wild instincts to preserve life. Noah didn't have to hunt them down. The Creator guided them. The final 7 days. The door of the ark remained open. Those were 7 days of final grace. Anyone who believed, anyone who stepped aboard, would be saved. but no one came. Except for Noah's family. Not a single soul believed that death was breathing down their necks. They continued to eat, drink, marry, and laugh. And then, boom! A massive sound echoed. It was not by Noah's hand. The scripture records, the Lord shut him in. The door of hope had closed. Time was up. February 17th, in the 600th year of Noah's life. The world changed forever. It didn't start with a drizzle. It started with an explosion. The Bible uses the phrase, "The fountains of the great deep burst forth." Imagine the Earth's crust cracking open. Massive geysers of subterranean water erupting with terrifying pressure, blasting rocks into the atmosphere. At the same time, the floodgates of the heavens were opened. It was an attack from two fronts, from the ground up and from the sky down. The earth was crushed between two jaws of water. The water didn't rise by inches, it rose by meters every minute. The laughter stopped. Panic took over. They ran to the high hills. They climbed the trees. They banged on the hull of Noah's Ark in desperation. "Noah, open the door. We believe now. Open it." But that door had no handle on the inside. Noah couldn't open it even if he wanted to. Fate was sealed. The screams were drowned out by the thunder. Then the screams grew quieter and quieter until they stopped. Only the sound of waves remained. A deadly silence covered the planet. The highest mountains were submerged 15 cubits under the surface. No Everest, no Himalayas, just one single ocean covering the globe. The earth returned to its primitive state, chaos and void. Inside that wooden box, life was preserved in the dark. They drifted for 150 days, 5 long months without seeing the sun, not knowing where they were going. The creaking of wood, the breathing of animals, the smell of confinement. It was a test of faith. Sometimes God saves you from the storm, but he leaves you waiting in the silence. Noah waited. Then a wind blew. The waters began to recede. The ark ran aground on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sent out a raven. It flew back and forth, finding nowhere to rest among the corpses floating on the water. Then he sent out a dove. The second time, it returned with a fresh olive leaf. Life had returned. Trees had sprouted from the mud of destruction. Noah removed the covering of the ark. Light flooded in. He and his family stepped out, filling their lungs with the air of a new world, a world washed clean. No more giants, no more violence, only purity. The first thing Noah did was not build a house, but build an altar to give thanks. And as the smoke rose, a brilliant band of color stretched across the sky. The rainbow. It was not just an optical phenomenon. It was the Creator's signature on a covenant with mankind. Never again will I destroy the world by water. The story of the Great Flood and Noah's Ark is not just an ancient myth. It appears in the Epic of Gilgamesh of Mesopotamia, in the Gunyu legends of China, and even in Indian mythology. Why does humanity, across all corners of the globe, remember this flood? Perhaps it is an eternal reminder that civilization does not guarantee survival, that morality is the only anchor that holds against the wrath of nature. Noah's Ark remains a symbol of hope amidst adversity, that no matter how dark the sky gets, no matter how fierce the storm, after the rainbow will appear for those who are patient and keep the faith.